Excuse me. Yeah. Do you have any throwing moves? What? Throwing moves. Do you have any? Oh, we don't have any throwing moves. What we do have, though, is a season pass. All the content you want. Uh, it's only $14.99. Never mind.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Guys, get ready for a pretty long and in-depth review, because this is a game that its select fans, including myself, have waited so long for, and that is Shenmue III. Look at it. It's here, in all its beauty. Sixth generation beauty, but, still. Anyway, let's get right into this, man. Shenmue 3. Here we go. So Shenmue 3 basically continues on right where Shenmue 2 left off, where Ryo travels to Guilin to find the man who killed his father to get his revenge and obtain the dragon mirror that was also stolen from him. He meets a girl named Shenhua, and most of the story actually has less to do with Ryo's what Ryo needs to do, and more with Shenhua. You basically spend the whole game trying to rescue her father. I'm trying not to spoil anything, major. Overall, the story was pretty good. The way it was told was serviceable, I guess. Probably not as memorable as the first two, but not a bad story. Shenhua is probably my favorite part of this whole game. She's definitely my favorite character in the game, and probably my favorite character that Ryo has ever been friends with. My favorite personal companion of Ryo is Shenhua, and she offers some of the best conversations when you come home every night. Really, really meaningful, really genuine. I love the close bond that Ryo and Shenhua has in this game.
I've noticed there aren't many men in Bailu.
Oh?
There are a lot of kids and elderly people, but nobody in between.
That's because the men are in the city.
All day, every day?
Yes. Around this time each year, they leave their families behind to go work in the city.
Huh? That must be tough.
It is. Some of them never come back.
Really?
I've heard stories about men who get used to city life and decide they'd rather just stay.
Wow.
Is it true?
Is what true?
Is the city really that nice?
Well, it's definitely more convenient than Bailu.
So, you prefer the city?
It's not an either-or situation.
Why not?
Home is wherever my family, friends, and loved ones are.
So people matter most to you.
Yeah.
While I don't have any problem with the story, I did have quite a few problems with the pacing of the story. It can be kinda grindy. What the fuck is going on here? Why is the frame rate in the cutscenes? What the hell's going on with their mouths? Everything's delayed, and it looks like pixelated. 5,000 yuan? Okay. Here's one of quite a few things I have wrong with the game. The story can be kind of grindy. There are quite a few, well, maybe not quite a few. There's at least two story-related purchases that cost you a lot of money. There's one where you have to buy wine, like really expensive 50-year-old wine for like 2,000, and then later on you gotta buy like a skill book for 5,000. So the game kind of makes you go out of your own way um, to do extra stuff on the side. Now, I personally didn't have a problem with it. The reason being is because I I spent a lot of my time running around collecting a lot of herbs. And you can sell these herbs in sets and get an amazing amount of money for them. And I actually do encourage you to go out there and collect herbs on your spare time. There are, of course, jobs, like there's always been in Shenmue. Um, the first job you're going to find is a wood splitting job. Um, Basically, you just press one button to split wood, and you either hit it or you miss it, depending on where you're at. And it's not that exciting, it's kind of boring, it gets repetitive pretty fast, and the pay isn't that much. But hey, a job's a job, you know? Um, why is there action music going around? Like, every time you do good, when you hit a log really, really well or excellent, the music changes, and I don't know why, but for some reason it sounds like an 80s action arcade game. Uh, the game does take place in 87, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems a little out of place. And why is my boss always standing right there behind me, telling me I'm either doing a good job or a shitty job? Like, dude, like, you're distracting me. Go away. I'd do better if he wasn't there. And why does he say, oh no, like every time I'm doing the complete opposite of a bad job? It's like I'm splitting wood perfectly, and he's like, oh no. Okay, it's like I'm doing you a favor more than that, but I guess I'll just miss more often.
Oh no! Oh no!
Later on, you will find forklift jobs, like there was in the first one, where basically you transport cargo to and from a boat to a warehouse or vice versa. There is no races, forklift races, unfortunately. I was kind of hoping for forklift races. Um, but I also found this job to be pretty underpaid too. You know, you only get 30 yuan for one crate each, and you can probably get up to like 7 or 8 crates. So in game time, it's about an hour job, I think, or 2 hour job to get, 150 or 180 yuan. Whereas the wood splitting job, if you're good, you can get, 75 plus um, per half an hour for wood splitting. So I think it might actually be more time efficient to split wood than it is to do the forklift job, both in-game time and real life time, because real life time, you only spend like a minute of real life time, chopping wood for, 70 yuan, whereas with the forklift racing, you spend like at least 5 or 10 minutes to get 150 yuan. So you actually do get more out of splitting wood. So they need to patch the amount of money you earn from these. They need to increase both of them a bit. They especially need to increase the forklift job, because that seems like a way more important job, transferring people's stuff, than it is chopping wood. Um, so there is plenty of things to do to earn money. You can sell stuff like herbs. You can just work your ass off. I did plenty of both, and I understand. It didn't personally affect me, and it didn't personally affect quite a few people. But for those who just wanted to experience the story and have it so that the game has these grind roadblocks, so to speak, is a little it's a little disheartening, to make people go out of their way like that to grind money um, to proceed with the game. Um, and that's not the only thing that I kind of have a problem with the pacing. The second half of the main game, there are two main areas, which I'll talk about later. The second area kind of like it almost like copies and pastes like your tasks that you needed to do in the first area, like buy an expensive item to proceed, like I already said, or learn the leader of this current gang's technique so you can learn his weakness and beat him that way. And it does this twice, in a row. It's not really a big problem since there's only two halves of this game. It'd be different if it was like 10 cities and you had to do it 10 times. But it's just it's just something worth mentioning. Um, there was also one instance where I felt like I wasn't strong enough in a fight and I had to train. I had to train to level up my max HP because in this one you only start out with um, half HP, and the more you level up with your training, whether it's horse stance or the 1 inch punch or rooster steps later on, or sparring with monks to improve your skill books, your skill book moves, I should say. Um, I had to I had to train quite a bit. I had to train like 2 in-game days to go back and overcome my obstacle with the main story fight. Um, so there's that to mention right there. Just a little bit of grindiness in this game. Um, Not a terrifically huge deal, but just something that it's a minor con where the game makes you go out of your own way to do a few things. Now, without spoiling that much, there are two separate major locations in Shenmue 3 as there was in 2. The first place is Bailu, which is this really beautiful, vibrant, rural village that I really enjoyed exploring. It was nice to kind of explore a countryside in a Shenmue game. And then the second half is Niahu, which is like this big harbor city with tons of shops, and I mean tons everywhere, and a lot of martial arts shops and dojos and all that nice stuff. Um, in Bailu, you spend your night in Senua's house, and in Niawu, you spend it in a hotel, which means you do have to spend a daily fee every day to pay for the night. Um, so Rio has a day-night schedule. You wake up at 7. It's 7 in Bailu and 8 in Niawu, and you return home at 9 p.m. or a little bit after 9 if you're working. It'd be like 9:15 or 9:20. And he talks to Shenhua for a little bit and then he goes to bed. So he sleeps quite a bit. He sleeps from like 9:30 to 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. He sleeps kind of late, I guess. Not late, but he sleeps a lot. Um, it's a beautiful game overall. And it kind of makes me come to realize that Shenmue isn't really meant, nor probably ever will be meant, to ever look realistic per se. It looks a little like it's from last generation. Um, the faces aren't meant to look realistic. Some do look a little too cartoony though, like Mr. Eyebrows over here. The story missions range from investigating certain places, like opening drawers and just finding some clues to find what you need to do next. There's also a couple puzzles in the game. These were a pretty nice change of pace. Throughout the game, aside from the whole pacing problem, there were a good enough of variety between the story quests. And you have to talk to certain people to figure out where to go next. I always went for the oldest people who have the most like knowledge and experience. And my favorite person to talk to for anything to ask around with is this really old man in the village square. Um, he just says this every time I walk up to him. It's hilarious.
Excuse me.
I love how there's like very few load times at all in this game. You know, in the first two Shenmues, I remember there being a lot of transitions between areas. In this one, you could run across the entire main area you're at with literally no load screens at all, besides very few. Like if you want to walk into a big arcade building or something, or you know another building, there's very few load screens. I don't like how there's certain restricted boundaries based on where you are in the story. For instance, like if I want to go to Sunset Hill for the first time, I have to talk to somebody who's like, "Oh, you can find her at Sunset Hill, and then you can go to Sunset Hill." You know? And I just don't like that. It's not like me exploring there prematurely would like spoil anything per se. I just wish that the game was a lot more open to you instead of having to wait until like the point of no return and then be like, okay, I think I can explore everything now. I wanted the game to be more open world, um, so to speak. There are also some glaring, noticeable graphic and NPC pop in. Like it's really bad. You'll walk up to like a group of monks practicing, and like they all like fade into existence. Um, you know, and like there are times when I'm running and I run into a person that I didn't see, who just like popped into game space. You know, right as I bump into her. Um, it's like even worse than the graphical pop in Mafia 3. It's hilarious, but you know, it's just something that I can just laugh at. Um, even like even the shopkeepers sometimes like don't pop up until you're like waiting for them to pop up.
Welcome to my one and only Alchemy Shop. I have the best deals on all the most powerful herbs and spices known to man.
Each minor area, like each little area has its own music. So you'll find yourself like just running through one place, listening to some song, and then it will fade out. And then another song will fade in when you're running to another area. Like songs change so frequently. It's pretty funny. It's kind of distracting, you know? It's good music though. I love the music. It's very relaxing, but it's just like it changes so frequently. There was even one area where I was able to detect exactly where the music cut ends and where the other one begins, like in this arena. It's really funny. The things that made the Shenmue series so fun and, you know, so special is all here. There's plenty of fun activities. You know, you get the toy capsule machines where you can, you know, win prizes and sell those prizes to a pawn shop or whatnot. You know, and then there are the arcades. There's like the Excite QTE, and the QTE Dolph Lundgren boxing looking thing, which I always sucked at. There's Whack-A-Mole. There's this pinball prize machine, I think, where you just shoot a pinball and hopefully it goes in all the holes and stuff. There's this car chase game where you're being chased by some cop car, and I'm not really fond of that one. As a matter of fact, not all of these I do not like, especially this awful Virtua Fighter weird clone. It's awful. It's like the worst mini game I've ever played inside of a video game. It's really bad. There's no way I'm gonna get the high score in this shit because it's just so goddamn clunky and what the fuck. And then you have like these underthrow mini games like the basketball where you just underthrow a ball into a moving basketball net, and a mini golf where you just underthrow a golf ball in a golf hole. And then you have the pail toss, which is the absolute worst. This is bullshit. Okay, because even when I have Rio's hand trajectory inside the bucket, like he still misses. I've only won this thing once. This game has side missions, which I didn't really feel too inclined to do. I didn't feel like running around, you know, checking to see if anyone had side missions available, because it's not like this game has maps where you see like an explanation point, Um, but this game has a few side missions, like winning the soccer ball from that stupid pail toss for this little kid. The thing is, I gotta pay like, 10 yuan per try. So like, what if it takes me like 500 yuan to buy this kid a goddamn soccer ball? What do I get out of it? Do you get anything from these side missions besides peace of mind? I didn't feel I didn't want to do the side missions because I didn't know what the reward would be. Um, so yeah, there are side missions. I just didn't really feel too encouraged to do them. Um, and then of course you got the gambling. You know, like there was in Shenmue 2. You had that lucky hit. The lucky hit is in here. Always pretty fun. And then you have dice. The highest dice number wins. You got turtle racing. Turtle racing I enjoyed for a while until I started winning a lot. That the game started like making me lose a lot. Like no matter how fast I tapped the button prompts, like my turtle didn't fucking go anywhere. So, and then you have this elemental spin the wheel game. You know, um, the gambling in this game feels a lot more rigged for you to lose than it was in 2. So it didn't take long for me to not want to gamble anymore in this game. There was also no big or small. It made me miss big or small, where you had to, bet big or small and whatever, from the second one. There is a fortune teller there's many fortune tellers in this game, actually. Um, that may or may not give you better luck based on what answers they give you. Like this color fortune teller that told me my lucky number is green. So maybe if I went back and chose the green turtle, I'll win the turtle race, or the green elemental spin the wheel thing. Maybe I'll win that. I didn't test that out, and I kind of doubt that would work. But if it does, then maybe gambling would be less rigged, and well, it'd actually be kind of like cheating. But um, starting the more dated aspects of this game are the dialogue. It's very campy. It's very, I think it's campy on purpose. You know, the way that people deliver a lot of their lines are just stupid. And like Rio opening a forklift, toy and not knowing it's a forklift, even though he's worked on a forklift job before. And he has like these weird robotic first person hand movements where he's just like, ah, this looks good, or what is this?
This is interesting. What is this?
There's also some really weird people that you will randomly come across. like making for some of like the most awkward, uncomfortable moments in gaming this year. Like this woman who like keeps trying to make me drink her tea when all he wants to do is ask a question. Like it makes you wonder what the hell is inside that tea, because I guarantee you, Rio doesn't like it. Whatever is in there, it's bad. It's probably like her pee or something. I don't fucking know, and I don't want to know. There's even a few random dialogue choices hidden in the game. Some of them pretty well done, some of them pointless.
Hello there.
Howdy, come on in.
Excuse me. Gorgeous.
Oh, young man, you're making me blush.
Hello. Oh, you don't have to say it. Handsome. Oh, stop. You're gonna make me fart. I'm nervous.
And while there are a lot of nice people that you'll meet that will make you fall in love with the world and the community it presents, well, not everyone will be that nice to you. But you know how Rio is when it comes to kissing ass.
Excuse me.
What is it?
Mind if I ask you about the red snakes?
No idea. Go bother someone else.
Got it. Thanks for the tip.
Listen, if you're just gonna talk and not buy anything, then get the fuck out of my store and stop wasting my time, you freeloading millennial. Okay, got it. Thanks. I should check back here often.
Okay, so I have 3 major complaints that places this game below the first 2 for me. The first one is the combat. The throws are removed. There's no throw moves in this game. There were in the second one, and they were very helpful. They were very essential. The moves I find to be a little bit easier. Maybe that's only because I'm playing with a PlayStation controller and not a Dreamcast controller. It's a little easier to control, for me anyway. But the combat in general is very bad by today's standards, Like compared to like Spider-Man or Batman Arkham, the combat in this game is so stiff, so clunky. The camera angles are often really bad. The trying to turn around is like basically impossible. Switching to different targets in multiple, opponent fights. It's just straight up bad. It's the most outdated part of this whole game. And when you train these moves, I remember when you train moves in the first Shenmue, if you max out that move, it turns into like an even more effective move. In this game, when I maxed out my skill for specific moves, it didn't really felt like it mattered. It just felt like you're just leveling up Rio so he has, his full beads of health. I didn't feel like my training really mattered. It just felt like, I know the moves now, like a Mortal Kombat game or something, and then I just spam those same moves in the combat here. So, yeah, man, the combat isn't great. One thing I hate probably even more, though, is this stupid stamina system. Now, okay, Shenmue is one of those games where the first time you play, you never really know when you're gonna get into a fight the first time around, the first playthrough. So you always have to make sure you're prepared or whatnot. In this case, you always have to manage your stamina. It depletes faster when you run and slower when you walk, but it still depletes no matter what you do. And the only way for you to keep it up is by eating a tremendous amount of food. I mean, it's it is insane. I once bought like 950 carrots for like 950 yuan because they're fucking cheap. Which, by the way, is actually like the easiest way to get that 1000 shop trophy. It's like it makes it the easiest gold trophy ever. But enough about that. I had to buy so much goddamn food. Most of the things I bought in this game went to food. Just because it makes you replenish food over and over and over and over again. And you have to eat so much. Oh my god, to fill like a 2000 health bar, you have to eat either 60 carrots or like fucking 20 pieces of bread because different foods do vary how much they heal you. Some are overpriced. Like, there are watermelons for 2 that heal the same as, something else that costs 3. So always buy your food 1 yuan for every 30 HP healed. There's a huge amount of variety of foods. You got like moldy ass donuts, moldy ass muffins, moldy ass pound cakes. You even got rotten bananas. Like a lot of the food in this game looks so fucking unappetizing. Um, but it doesn't really matter what you eat as long as you keep micromanaging the goddamn stamina system. I don't know if they tried encouraging you to walk around as opposed to running around, but who wants to walk around a huge game? This ain't The Walking Dead or Heavy Rain. This is a big open game. You're gonna want to always run. It's annoying. It'd be more acceptable if you had to heal after having like a really rough fight where you almost die. You're like, shit, I almost got knocked the fuck out. I need to heal, and then having the HP stay at that point. I don't like it when your HP is your stamina, and it keeps going lower and lower. You have to constantly eat and eat and eat. It's it's annoying. It's not a survival aspect done well. It's very tacked on. It feels incredibly out of place. And if they make a Shenmue 4, they better not include this. And they sure as hell better re-include throws for the combat. And lastly, there is also a really overabundance of annoying QTEs, especially in the latter half. Sometimes you feel like the reaction time isn't long enough. There's this really pointless QTE chase where, if you get one wrong, you have to start the whole thing over again. And even if you get all the QTE things right, you still don't end up catching the guys. So, what's the point of this QTE chase? But in the midst of all the things I don't like about this game, there's like an equal amount of things that I love about this game. Like there's just so much love and passion made here by both the developers and the backers. You'll come across a journal in your hotel room where you see like people in their handwriting, thanking the community, thanking the developers of their hard work. These are people who have waited so long to play this game, and even though it's not perfect, it's probably not even great, it's still the fact that it's finally here. You can feel that when you read this stuff, and there's even some Easter eggs, here and there, and kind of like fourth wall breaks almost. um, there's so much love in this game. You can feel the charm, and this is something that very few games exhibit nowadays. There's even the tomato convenience store. There's even one in this game with the tomato theme song.
My final score for this game is going to be a pretty tough one because, on one hand, it's so faithful to, its source. It is a true Shenmue game. It's a true Shenmue experience. And it delivers just about everything fans have ever wanted for Shenmue 3. At its heart, it's a great experience um, when you're in that mindset that you're playing a Shenmue game that should have come out a long time ago, because it's also it's very dated. The gameplay as a whole is really dated. The graphics are, the environments are beautiful. The characters not so much. I could see one side, the fans, giving this like as high as like a 9 out of 10, just because like it's fucking Shenmue, like, and it has that love and that level of detail and the passion. It does it really well. And then you'll have the other side of people that aren't familiar with Shenmue, that they're going to pick this up and be like, huh, I've heard of it, but I never tried it. And then they try it and they're like, this sucks. I could see people giving this as low as like a 5 out of 10. So I think for both sides, I'm gonna play it fair, and I'm probably gonna give this game like a 7 out of 10. I think a 7 is really fair for all the things it does right and all the things it does wrong. Um, Overall, pretty good game. Probably the worst Shenmue, but that's not really saying much. Um, the $60 price tag now, quality-wise, it's not going to feel like a $60 title. Content-wise, the game is pretty long. It's probably the biggest, longest Shenmue to date. You will easily spend at least 20 to 30 hours on this game between the main story, um, and various other things you can do, jobs, arcade games. That time is all going to add up, and by the end, you're probably going to feel that you're going to get your money's worth. Um, and there's also New Game Plus too. All your skills and all your money and stuff carries over, which is pretty cool. All right, guys. Yeah, I had fun playing this game for the most part. For the most part, because there were sometimes when the combat and the QTEs and the stamina system. But there's so much love to be had here, It's like one of those like flawed masterpieces, and I definitely had fun reviewing this as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you've played it, do you want to play it? Do you have any questions that I didn't cover in my review? Comment down below. I'll be happy to talk with you guys about this game. And until next time, thank you for watching.
The Gamer Gods!
1, 2. What's wrong with you? We kick it on 3. You really are a klutz.